Hey guys, it's Barlock here with another Pokemon video from the recent Nintendo Direct. In the last video, we went through a number of confirmed features that were shown off in the trailer and on the website, but in today's video we're going to be putting on our tinfoil hats and speculating about what we've seen in the trailer. As usual, I'm going to try to keep this speculation fairly grounded and based on the evidence that we've seen so far, so don't expect me to be freaking out about how the tiny birds you can see flying in the background of certain shots clearly must be new Pokemon. Also, I'm going to be saving all my Dynamax theories for my next video, so be sure to subscribe to see that when it comes out. But without further ado, let's get started. First of all, I want to address some updates on theories I had in my previous speculations video, back when the Pokemon Sword and Shield reveal trailer came out. So if you want to hear those theories, then click the link in the top right corner right now. So first of all, I had predicted that Sobble might be given a new, unique ability because the usual water starter ability, Torrent, doesn't really fit into the personality it has been given at all. However, the Pokemon website has confirmed that Sobble does indeed have Torrent, so that's somewhat disappointing to see. We can be certain that Game Freak will eventually release Sobble with its hidden ability, which will likely be something like Color Change, Protean, or perhaps an entirely new ability. But for now, we have to deal with Torrent on it, which is unfortunate. So another prediction I had was that Sword and Shield would hopefully have less Gen 1 pandering, because it has been getting pretty sickening lately. Between Pokemon Go, Detective Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and Pokemon Quest, Gen 1 has been milked to death lately. So with the announcement of Pokemon Home's connection with the Let's Go games, I had hoped that this might mean that Gen 1 Pokemon will be de-emphasized in Pokemon Sword and Shield in order to convince players to transfer those Pokemon over from those games. But from what we've seen in the Direct, that doesn't seem to be the case. The most ridiculous example of this is that Leon's main Pokemon is Charizard. Traditionally, a champion's most powerful Pokemon will be a pseudo-legendary, usually showing off a particularly powerful Pokemon from their generation of games. For example, think of Cynthia and her Garchomp, or Steven and his Metagross. Charizard seems like it was only chosen because people like it, and because it acts kind of like a shorthand to say that this trainer is a badass. Again, see Detective Pikachu and the Charizard trainer in that. Charizard isn't really all that powerful of a Pokemon either, especially for a champion's ace, so there has to be something more to it. Like, is it just going to be a Mega Charizard? Or is there really going to be an armored evolution to it, like all the rumors that have been going around? Considering that we've already gotten Dynamax in this game, I'm not really counting on that to be the case, but there has to be some sort of twist to this Charizard that we haven't seen yet. Oh, and speaking of Pokemon Home, the fact that it connects to Let's Go and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee adds some more fuel to my insistence that Meltan and Melmetal are going to be only attainable if you have those two games. Meltan and Melmetal are officially considered mythical Pokemon, and mythical Pokemon tend to only be attainable through special events, and there are some Pokemon which haven't been attainable for 5 years or more now in this category. I just have a really hard time imagining that Game Freak are going to make Meltan and Melmetal available so easily in Pokemon Go, and then do a Sword and Shield specific distribution later. Thankfully, I have gotten Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee since I recorded my last speculation video, so I will be in the clear, but hopefully Niantic has another shiny Meltan event sometime soon, as I didn't have any luck last time they released that event. And finally, my last update on an old theory is the idea that contests might return in Pokemon Sword and Shield. This was because of an advertisement in the first trailer which showed several contest berries in it. There are more berry advertisements in the recent trailer, which you can see inside of the stadiums during gym battles. The new advertisement seems to show a Glossifer along with some other berries. It's hard to tell exactly which berries are in the advertisement, but the fact that we've now seen 2 trailers with prominent advertisements for berries suggests to me that there's something up with them. Why would there be ads for berry products in a televised gym battle unless they have some sort of presence within Galar? I mean, they must have some sort of economic swing in order to be able to afford advertisements in all these televised stadiums. And the fact that a Gossifleur shows up on it as well would also suggest that it could be a beauty-related purpose, since Gossifleur is a Pokemon that seems very much associated with its beauty. This isn't the only time that berries show up in the trailer either, though. The female player character can also be seen shaking a tree in the wild area in order to make berries fall out. Interestingly enough, the berries that we see actually don't look like any existing berries, which begs its own questions. Are these new berries, or do Game Freak just not bother modeling all of the different berries and just went with a generic look for them instead? Could Game Freak be further incentivizing exploration by making players go out and harvest these contest berries daily? I could be looking too deeply into this, but the fact that berries have shown up with such prominence again makes me willing to bet contests could show up again in Sword and Shield. Okay, so those are all the updated theories out of the way, so let's get on to the new theories. First of all, let's talk about the starters. I already mentioned Sobble earlier, so I won't get into it too much here, but all of the starters showed up in the Direct. However, most of the new information that we got about them was found on the Pokemon website. Scorbunny's entry states that it's always running about, bursting with energy, and that the soles of its feet can become very hot, and Scorbunny can kick opponents to damage and burn them. Which sounds an awful lot like Scorbunny is going to become another fire and fighting type starter. I really hope that I'm wrong about this, because we don't need a fourth fire and fighting starter, but based on the info they've given us, it does sound like this will happen. However, Grookey sounds way more interesting. The website states that it's a mischievous chimp Pokemon that is full of boundless curiosity, and that the stick it holds has gained special powers after being exposed to the energy within Grookey's body. This is a fascinating new detail which has me incredibly excited to see what exactly is going to happen with this. There was some speculation that the stick we saw Grookey using in the first trailer could be an indication of its evolution line, but there wasn't really much indication that it was an essential part of the character. There are just so many directions that they could go with this though. I mean, maybe it evolves and the stick will become a wand and it will be a grass and psychic type Pokemon similar to Delphox. Or perhaps it could become like a quarterstaff and Grookey will evolve into a monk Pokemon with the grass and fighting type. That would be awesome, and there's an obvious poetry to having a monk monkey. I could also see it becoming a grass and dark type Pokemon, since it is described as being mischievous, or possibly a grass and fairy type, since fairies are traditionally portrayed as being rather mischievous creatures. I'm extremely excited to see what Game Freak does with Grookey, and I'm very happy that I've been on hashtag Team Grookey since day one. Next, let's move on to the wild area. I have a couple of theories for this area. First of all, I think the odds are pretty high that the wild area is a test run for the direction Game Freak wants to take future Pokemon games. If players enjoy the open world gameplay of the wild area, then you can be certain that Gen 9 is going to go totally open world. As long as it's designed and handled well, I'm personally not opposed to this potential direction for the series, but it will be interesting to get my hands on Sword and Shield to see exactly how well it plays. If it turns into repetitive busy work, then I might have to take back my excitement, but in theory, it sounds like a natural evolution for the franchise. Does this mean that there's going to be shiny Pokemon in the overworld as well, similar to Let's Go? Hopefully. Another theory I have about the wild area is that there should be dynamic item spawns. The Direct stated that we can find Pokemon and items in the wild area, and that the weather changes regularly, but if all of these items can be obtained after a single, thorough run-through of the wild area, it would be pretty unfortunate and make the world feel barren after that first run. As a result, I expect there will be either random item spawns throughout the wild area, or areas which can't be traversed in certain weather conditions, similar to the changing seasons in Pokemon Black and White. The presence of roaming Pokemon in the wild area also makes me think that there might be another much-loved feature from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee returning in Sword and Shield. Specifically, I think that we're going to see following Pokemon in the overworld. After all of the walking animations are already there, and we've got the hardware to render multiple Pokemon on the screen, so what difference will one more make? Considering how well loved and requested this feature is, and the fact that the resources for it are already in the game, I'd be more surprised if it wasn't revealed before the game releases. However, I'm willing to bet that the other big feature from Let's Go, riding Pokemon, is probably not coming back in Sword and Shield. After all, we've already seen the player riding a bike to cross land and water, and we've seen Corviknights be used for flying, so having riding Pokemon on top of this would just be a waste of resources, even if it would be rather cool. Furthermore, it would require tons of unique additional animations which aren't already in the game, so I would not expect this to return. Oh, and speaking of animations, the way that the characters' mouths have been animated makes me think that it's very likely that Game Freak have finally added voice acting to Sword and Shield. In my initial reactions to the trailer, I noticed that the detail which has been put into the characters' mouth movements is too good for it just to be generic animations or over text boxes. So I'm going to call it now. We're getting voice acting for most, if not all, of the characters. Obviously, this has not been confirmed yet, but I'm willing to bet that this is going to be the case. As for the new Pokemon, the website states that Corviknight is said to be the strongest Pokemon in the skies of Galar. There has been some speculation about whether the third legendary Pokemon in the game is a bird or a dragon, and the statement makes me wonder if perhaps they're going to be neither of those. There are a couple of ways it could still work though. One, if the bird or dragon legendary does not have any wings and therefore is not contesting Corviknight's claim as the strongest Pokemon in the skies. Or two, if its legendary status makes people overlook it. Actually, there is a third option here as well that could work, but that's something I'm going to discuss more in my Dynamax video, so if you're curious what that is, then be sure to watch that video when it comes out. And so we'll end the theories in this video by discussing the two legendary Pokemon we were introduced to, Zacian and Zamazenta. We'll start with Zacian, whose Shining Blade is said to be able to cut through anything. The website also states that its graceful movements captivate opponents. Also, it's totally Sif, the Great Grey Wolf, which is awesome. I feel like it's pretty safe to assume that Zacian is going to have a really high physical attack stat, and probably speed as well. As for its typing, I'm thinking that fighting is likely, but it might also have the fairy typing, and maybe normal and/or psychic as well. It's also worth noting that its coloration is noticeably lighter and more pastel-like than its counterpart, so I'm not thinking that it could be a dark type by any means because of that. Meanwhile, Zamazenta's gleaming shield can turn back any attack, but the website also says that its regal and majestic movements overwhelm any opponent who dares face it, which is rather interesting. I would assume that it has high defenses, but based on that description, it might also have a high speed as well. Maybe it's a special attacker? Zamazenta is noticeably darker than Zacian as well, to the point where I'm wondering if there might be another associated Pokemon whose colors are somewhere in between these two, possibly even the third legendary. Personally, of these two box legendaries, I prefer Zamazenta, so I think Pokemon Shield is going to be my main playthrough of the game. I'm thinking that Zamazenta will likely be a fighting and steel type, although I could see it also being a fairy, normal, or dark type as well. And those are my theories and speculations for now. There were a ton of things to mull over in the Direct, and I'm sure that there are more things which will become clear as time goes on. Did you find any of these theories compelling? Do you have any theories that I missed? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. If you could give this video a like as well, I would appreciate it, as I am trying to grow this channel and appreciate any support. And don't forget, I have another theories video about Dynamax coming soon, so be sure to subscribe to catch that. But until next time guys, this is Barlock, signing off.